Hi guys, I'm here today to talk to you guys because I need like a space where I can like talk in more than like 140 characters, and also because Twitter is the very bane of my existence, and that's exactly what I'm about to talk about here today. um so I'm really bad because I really don't plan what I'm gonna say. I kind of just like word vomit whatever's been in my head and hope for the fucking best. But I guess to better plan out my thoughts, I'm gonna list the topics that I'm going to be talking about. um Performative activism, um anti-capitalism, and selective accountability. I think that's the best way. What was the first one that I said? Performative activism, that's what I said. A lot of these thoughts are my own, but I get a lot of like supporting thoughts and like information from a lot of other people that I watch, and I'm gonna also insert them in this, whatever the fuck this is. I don't even know where I'm gonna post this. So yeah, the first thing that I really want to talk about, and then I'm gonna talk about like what triggered me wanting to talk about this, because so I'll start with, I said Twitter is the bane of my existence, and that's kind of where performative activism and selective accountability and anti-capitalist talk is bred and like really thrives. It's like all on Twitter. And I was making like a video on the way home from work because like I like doing like these little like car rants on the way home, but then it's like I just got off of like overnight shift. I don't think I'm really coherently saying my points. So I just took a shower.
I'm very fucking hungry, but I don't have an appetite and I don't feel like cooking
anything. Besides, that's not the point. So I wanted to first start about performative activism only because I was just watching the first point of reference, Tiana Empowers. Is that how you say her name? Let me check. So yeah, my first point of reference is Tiana Empowers, and she's on YouTube. I really like the topics that she talks about and the way that she approaches these topics, because she wants to like make productive criticisms while still maintaining compassion and recognizing that she tries to make it productive in the way that she's forming these criticisms. And that's what I appreciated, because me, I'll fuck around and just complain about the bullshit. But I'm gonna try to be more helpful, helping you guys kind of see where I'm coming from. And I also just want to disclaim that I am in no way trying to like be condescending or think that I do better, because I don't. Part of the reasons why it's easy for me to voice these sentiments is because I used to operate on that little plane. Like I used to do the same shit that like I sometimes complain about. But I'm gonna like kind of touch on why it's, you know, better to recognize where you've gone wrong in the past and then commit to actually doing better than to like, I don't know, like not just be complicit. So performative activism, I'm tired of I'm not tired of anything. I'm also trying to be really careful with how I word anything, because I don't want to act like these topics are inconvenience to me, because a lot of these issues are birthed on online platforms which are entirely optional for me to engage with. So it's like I don't want to act like, oh my gosh, like these things are the bane of my existence. I just really want to voice this because I really think it could be done differently, because I think sometimes when we step into these online platforms, like our sense of reality gets like so fucking skewed, and it's like, what the fuck are we really talking about right now? So performative activism is like the worst thing to have come out of social media, especially in like the past couple of years, because it's like, and like honestly, all of the topics like selective accountability, performative activism, they all kind of go under the same guys. Like you coming online to tweet something and within like 140 characters isn't as, and I'm gonna say the word productive a lot, even though, you know, being productive isn't like our main purpose. But when we're trying to tackle these important issues, I think it is important to be more productive than just fucking complain and talk online about it. It's like I don't think that we're gonna have like a feasible change from people sharing infographics on Instagram and Twitter in like 140 characters. And I think it really muddles up actually doing due diligence in these like it fucks up the process of actually making tangible change when we're busy like shaming people for not posting enough about one thing, or like not voting or voting, or you know, supporting somebody, and like but their support, like it's not productive. I'm gonna say that word a lot. Or it's like pointless, like it's not doing what we really want it to do. And like I don't want to feel pressured to share an infographic on my story. Like I might care, yeah, I might care, yes, but what are we gonna do outside of sharing this infographic? Because I'm pretty sure like a lot of the times when people share things, like socio-political things or like petitions and all that stuff, they post it and then they continue scrolling, they continue liking other posts, they put their, and then it's like when you put your phone down, how are you continuing this activism? You're probably not, like, because like I'm not speaking from like a higher ground because I am not that active in my community, but I still feel like I have the right to make these observations and kind of speak on them. And I also just want to say, when I'm saying all this, I'm realizing like, are these really even the platform? Like I think we expect too much out of these platforms and the users of these platforms, because like really we never know who is behind these accounts. We don't know their intentions, their motives. We don't know their level of commitment to actually enacting these changes that they're preaching about online. And that's why I just don't vibe with the whole cancel culture and holding people accountable, because it's like I always lose my fucking train of thought. This is why I cannot do videos like this, because oh yeah, okay, that's why I just don't vibe well with the whole cancel culture thing and holding people accountable on platforms like YouTube and Twitter and Instagram, because a lot of the times like there's no redemption culture online, and I don't think that's like, that is just as bad as these people and like in doing these harmful things. It's like just as bad as that, in my opinion. Like I feel like we should be more concerned, like yes, recognize the mistake that somebody did and where they went wrong. If you really feel so compelled to hold them accountable, then educate them on why you think they did the wrong thing, and then, you know, let it be known, but then also give them the, like, some things, and I'm not saying this as a blanket statement, because some shit people do and you hold them accountable for like objectively bad shit, yeah, and then it's like at that point you would hope that the system takes care of it, but it's like the system never fucking does its fucking job and serve justice. So that's another reason why I feel like we need to like place the blame on these systematic issues instead of placing individual blame on these people. So it's like I think we should just be more concerned with people's level of commitment to changing their ways, because I don't know why it's like so unpopular to think that people can change. Like I do think people can change. A lot of people don't. A lot of people are really complicit. That's why it's like it's not all bad to like try to raise awareness and hold people accountable, but it's like at some point you have to do more than just berate people online and like make people feel like shit for making mistakes. That in reality, people make a lot of fucking mistakes, including the very system that we're being governed by. So I'm gonna segue to like capitalism. Like on Twitter, people will cape so hard, like shame people so much for like participating in like a capitalist society, as if we have any other choice. Like, hello, look at where we fucking live. We live in America. Like corporations literally run our lives, whether we know it or want to admit it or not. Like everybody has a credit score, everybody has a social security number. Like you are a number. FICO, your credit score is literally just a corporation that decided one day that people need numbers to deem if they're you know, worthy of the responsibility of having like money. But it's like, what the fuck? Like I wouldn't need money if you guys didn't make it so important, you know? Like we need to go back to like fucking bartering and shit. And it's like it's not productive at all to keep shaming people online for shopping on Amazon and Shein, when like at the end of the day, after you send that tweet, after you send that fucking complaint, those things are still gonna be in production. Like they're still gonna be using child labor. So it's like, what did you do to actually aside from raising awareness, like that's very important, but it's like at some point we got to do more than just raise awareness. And a lot of people are not acting. Like, I'm speaking for myself too. Like, I know that when I close my fucking phone, like, I'll read about stuff and try to educate myself on it, but it's like living in a capitalist society, it's like we can't even afford to like concern ourselves with like these other worldly issues, because we're trying so fucking hard to even survive, make it by. And then it's like to come online and then get berated for fucking shopping on Amazon, when like, what if you're, because like a lot of these like I think it's like about convenience at the end of the day. It's not like because people are just like complicit in like wanting to support these people. I think it's just the convenience that comes with like these companies, like the like same-day delivery. Like, you can get groceries on Amazon and get them sent to your door. Like, if somebody lives in like a more obscure place and they don't have the stores around them to buy like local stuff, like there's not, sometimes people don't have access to things. And that's also why I don't think it's productive to do a lot of this like activist work online, because it's not even reaching as many people as you think. Like, we live in like this whole technology bubble where we think like a large part of the world is like online, like we're all here together. Like, no, we are very much in a bubble. And that's why people are like, go outside, touch some grass, like actually concern yourself with like real world shit. Not to say like that things that we talk about online aren't real, but it's like, are you making real world changes after that? And like a lot of times, no, they're not. People just want to be like self-righteous and like stand on a soapbox. That's why like I don't even like talking about this shit, because like I know myself, I'm not perfect. And that's why like I don't understand why people go so hard to like try to cancel somebody when like we don't live in a perfect world. Like, it's like weird how people expect us to operate perfectly in such an imperfect world. Look at how we're governed. Look at our whole means of like operating through this life. And I'm just talking about like just living in America. I'm not talking about, because I can't even, I've never lived in another country aside from America, but from the experience that I've had in America, it's like I forgot where I was going with that, so fuck it. What else did I want to say? A lot of this was like triggered because I was trying to take a break from like social media. Social media is so draining. Like, it's fun. Like, a lot of times it's fun. We can kiki on there. We can connect with people that we couldn't connect with otherwise. But a lot of like the rest of it is like just people trying to like preach to people about things that honestly are not in our power to change. Like, whether I stop buying shit on Amazon or not, it's still gonna exist. It's still gonna be exploiting its workers. It's still, Jeff Bezos is still gonna be accumulating that wealth. Like, there's so many things that are just like engraved in our society that like I don't think like shaming people on the internet is really going to do anything except for just make you look like the number one judger. Like, also a lot of the things that people do choose to complain about on Instagram or even on YouTube, really also YouTube. Like, a lot of times when I complain about the internet, I'm mainly talking about Twitter and YouTube. Like, Instagram is like its own thing, but like that's very much, I feel like it's really easy to like opt out of Instagram for some reason. Like, I can stay off Instagram for like months and like not even think twice about it. But for some reason Twitter be calling my name, but I don't know, and YouTube. But like this whole rise of like accountability videos on YouTube, I'm not gonna lie, I got into the habit of like really consuming those videos of like, oh, this person is over, or like cancel this person. I would consume all those like drama videos, but I'm like, this shit is so stupid. It's so stupid because it's like, why are we focusing so much on these individuals instead of actually looking at the platforms that enable this behavior? And it's like, these people are only famous and relevant because of your engagement with them online, good or bad. Like, this is like the craziest thing that people do to me on, not the craziest, like I'm really exaggerating when I say like bizarre and crazy, but like it's so funny to me. It's ironic how people will like repost something problematic in order to complain about it, but it's like the only thing it's doing is garnishing it more views and more attention, thus giving that person more relevancy. And it's like, did you not realize what you just fucking did? And then it's like, people want to complain about what people do on Twitter and stuff, but, or like, okay, wait, no. When I was talking about with Twitter just being a cesspool, it's like people will try to like berate other people for doing shit, like internet shit, without realizing like you're choosing to participate in a platform that breeds off of this type of energy and this like type of discourse. Like, do you not realize like you're no better because you're like on Twitter probably doing the same thing anyway? And so I say all this to say, like, I'm really just trying to like take a step back and really reanalyze what I consume on the internet, because at the end of the day, out of sight, out of mind. Like, if somebody's doing something problematic, like, okay, if you want to call it out, but then after that, don't give it no more attention, because you're only gonna gain it more relevancy. Thus, you're not even gonna eradicate the fucking issue. You're just gonna exasperate it now at this point. Like, I don't get it when people, like, somebody will like make a racist TikTok and then it's like you do not know who's on. Not everybody who sees your post complaining about it is gonna be like, oh yeah, that's fucked up. Like, there's a lot of shitty people on the internet. Like, there's so much, like, somebody might watch that and be like, you know what? Like, it's probably some racist ass person that will watch what you just reposted and be like, no, yeah, that person is right. Black people do suck, and they really are. Like, okay, great. Now you just done gain that person another follower, okay? Because I don't think people realize, like, while a lot of people aren't on the internet is still a very large place, and like so many different types of people. Like, we can't assume that everybody there has good intention. We cannot assume that. Like, it's kind of wild for us to think that. And then it's like, it just makes us lose focus on like the actual root issues. Like, for example, this isn't even like that serious, but it's just an example with like people now trying, and I promise you I'm not saying this because I'm a Jack Harlow fan, but I can say this about probably any other celebrity. Like, the way people are trying to have like a cancel train for Jack Harlow for having worked with the DJ who committed a crime. It's like, y'all are directing all this hate. Like, you're putting in so much energy. You're spending your energy trying to cancel this man for the actions of another man, and not critiquing the system that let that man get away with what he did. Like, do you guys not realize like how fucking counterproductive that is, and how silly not silly, because boycott what you need to, because I'm all for boycotting shit. Like, so be it, do that. But then it's like people take it too far by like trying to shame anybody who doesn't do what they do. And it's like what the fuck? Like, when people were like during the whole, like, even like during the whole Black Lives Matter like movement last year, like, it's been around for a while, but like when it was really at its peak on social media this past summer, like, or like last summer, it's like people would be like, oh, I see who's not reposting like these certain like Black Lives Matter posts. Like, we see you. Like, okay, what the fuck? Like, what about the people that don't even have Instagram? What about them? Like, are they not shit too because they didn't share your infographic? Like, it's so stupid. And then it's like, some people just do what they can with what they have, and I understand that. So it's like, okay, if posting an infographic, because honestly, if the right person shares an infographic, like their demographic might be different. So honestly, reading that, one of their followers reading that infographic might actually be gaining like new knowledge that they didn't have before. But it's like, to go ahead and like that whole shit where people were shaming people for like not posting shit that they felt like they, like, really, that's performative as fuck. And I hope y'all know that, okay? And I'm not trying to say that like I did anything better, but at least I'm like, I am letting go of concerning myself with what other people do and focusing more on what I can do to help better the situation. I also just don't like how people, I want to rephrase that. I wish people didn't take other people's opinions so seriously or to heart the way they do on Twitter. Like, somebody can tweet something like, oh, apple juice is better than orange juice, and somebody be like, fuck you, your mom's a bitch, orange juice is better, like, go choke on a dick. And I'm like, why was that even necessary? Like, bro, you can keep scrolling, okay? Or you can simply unfollow, you can block the person. And oh, I didn't even finish that thought of like trying to really analyze like the stuff that I consume and what I choose to engage with. Like I recently had to like delete some of my accounts, and I'm trying to like transition to new accounts to where I can like completely reformat the accounts that I'm like the type of content that I'm seeing, because I also realized like life is what you make it. Like even on social media, like your timeline is your time, like it's catered to what you choose, who you choose to follow. So if you're constantly seeing things that you don't agree with, then maybe you should look at what you're following and who you're following and the content you're choosing to consume. Because like for a long time, and this is why I'm kind of like also reconsidering my participation in social media, because like you really have to be careful in what you choose to engage with, and like, and it's like I feel like at some point we're also just asking too much from these platforms. And that's why I'm saying like a lot of this shit online is performative, because at the end of the day, these apps on our phone can only do so much. Like what are you doing after you put your phone down? Okay, like a lot of us people will like, I don't know, make a stance on something like fast fashion. Okay, and I'm not saying like these critiques are not valid. I'm just saying you're not doing what you think you're doing by tweeting about it, because then it's like you're probably gonna like go shopping at Target later, or, and I'm not placing the blame on you. Like when you really look at it, like some people don't have access to other means, like, and they're like, oh, simply just shop local, shop like, bro, what like not every place has like local products or like black owned things. So it's like that's why I feel like we could direct our energy to more productive things, like sharing platforms where we could better access these things, or like doing like community work, like unionizing, honestly, because I think we expect too much from Twitter and our government, from social media and our government. And I think what we really need to do is, instead of like butting heads on the internet, we really need to come together and like crowdfund and like really help each other out. Like when people post GoFundMe, like I know you might feel like I'm broke as fuck, like how the fuck am I supposed to help you do this? And I also know it's risky because you never know people's intentions on the interwebs, but like there's still ways around it. Like there's still credible things on the internet where you can like show your support in more productive ways than just sharing infographics and like shaming people for not doing what you're doing, or doing what you don't think is enough, or like, you know what I'm trying to say, hopefully. I don't know, on like a more surface level, like I'm just gonna complain too, but I don't like to complain too much about like platforms like Twitter, where I'm the one, like I signed up on Twitter, like I made the account. The same way I can make the account is the same way I can delete my account and like not engage. But it's like there's a reason why we come back. Like we like to feel connected, like we like to be in the know, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like I also just want to unpack why I feel the need to like stay on these platforms. Like there was once a time where none of this shit existed, and it wasn't even that long ago. It wasn't like we talk about slavery not being long ago. Like so the birth of the rise of social media was like just the other fucking day in the grand scheme of things. So I like really am also trying to think of like, why do I have such a hold on these platforms? Like that's why I've kind of changed my course in the way that I'm presenting myself on the internet. Like I don't want to do the whole YouTube thing. I thought I did, but like I don't want to, because like just the culture of it now, it's like too muddled with like it's like really misguided, and it's like really hypercritical. And I'm not saying like I'm scared of getting criticized, but people just don't do it in productive ways. Like I think people just get off on shaming people and feeling self-righteous, and like I don't think people realize like how hypocritical they're being when like judging people. But it's like, girl, let's not act like you don't got skeletons in your closet. And I don't want to say that like, oh, if you did some fucked up things then you have no right to like criticize other people. Like no, like come on, we're all here to learn from each other at the end of the day, is what I'm trying to say. But there's ways that we can better educate these people and help them learn from their mistakes and give them the chance to be redeemed. But that can only happen so many times. Like if somebody, I feel like you get like 1 or 2 chances to do that, and if you keep fucking up and you keep showing like tendencies, I'm gonna be like, okay, no. Then it's like, then don't even engage with them. Like don't even consume their content, don't interact with them, don't do nothing. Like literally block them block them and move on with your life. Like, tell people like, hey, that person did something fucked up, and then move on. Like, don't commit your whole fucking life to like berating people online because they did something you didn't like. Like, that is like, how is that really the way you want to live your life? Like, our time here is so precious, and I don't think people really realize the complexities of like living in these times. Like, I can only speak for the times that I'm living in. I wasn't alive during like the fucking Renaissance and like the fall of whatever Roman Empire. Like, you know, because like, you know how people say like, oh, we're in the end of times. Like, I'm pretty sure people thought like the Black Plague and like the fall of the Roman Empire were in the times too, but it's like, no, it's just the end of like, it's like our time here. Earth is still gonna be rotating and shit. I don't know if she's gonna have oceans on it, but like, anyway, people, like, when people are so judgmental online, it really makes me know like that's how you see yourself, because like that's how I know you're not getting as much out of life, if you have the time to constantly be judging and critiquing other people, because then that shows me that you don't really understand the complexities of like of journeying through life. Like, don't we preach all the time that like growth is not linear? Don't people say that all the time? Yet we hold people to such rigid like standards. Like, they have no margins to fuck up at all, and once they do, it's like irredeemable. And I'm like, that's not how the real world works. Like, if you look at it, some of the greatest, like a lot of the like historical figures that we look at, like that people love to like use as point of references and all that, change. Like, they used to make mistakes, and they like Malcolm X was like a really fucked up individual, and he was still fucking on white women too. Like, so, but people love to like use him as a point of reference and use him in his clip, and I'm like, so we're able to like recognize that people have like origin stories, and they might have like a different outcome through like their personal growth. How come it's like selective? It's like why are we acting like people don't make mistakes anyway? And I'm not trying to excuse or like be like an apologist for any type of like objectively bad and continuous behavior. No, like I would dead it as a full stop. But also the same way you can like fix that is like, don't engage in it, because a lot of these issues exist only in the realm of social media. Like, it really does. That's why I'm like, what are you doing when you get off the app? Like, what are we doing to continue the momentum? Probably nothing. Like, it be more like even these like petitions and stuff, and like the way people make jokes out of like actual fucking issues. Oh, that's the other thing. Oh my god, people were getting mad at this one girl, the Zola movie, that the girl, I follow her Twitter account, and she's like, a lot of these people, sometimes people, like, everybody has a different brand, right? And her brand is very much like outspoken. She says what she wants to say, really nitty-gritty, against the grain. But like, clearly that gained her popularity, because I can say the Zola movie and y'all know who she is, because she built her fucking brand and her following off of being all these things. Yet it's the very same things that, those are the same qualities that are like now getting her canceled. And it's like really selective, because she said something like and I'm not excusing them, like I don't think it's okay what she said, but it's like, bro, y'all, the people who are like judging her like have already participated in this fucked up behavior in one way or another. So like, she said like, fuck Kanye and his mom, and as we all know, his mom has passed, is deceased, and I do not find any humor, unless they were like a bad person. Like, I can find humor in Hitler probably dying. Like, I wouldn't care. I don't find it like like Kanye and his mom. Like, I wouldn't be like that. But at the same time, cannot tell you how many posts I've seen on Twitter where people will be like, they'll see somebody has RIP in their bio, right? Because they have like a family member or a friend that has passed away. And then they'll be like, somebody will try to ratio them in like their own tweet and quote tweet them and be like, oh, worry about Tammy, and like you go to the person's account and like they have RIP Tammy in their account. I'm like, y'all were not keeping that same energy when you were kicking in the comments of that fucking ratio tweet, when they were like making fun of a deceased person in their bio. But because she said that, and it's like about Kanye, like, why are we keeping for Kanye? He's done so much weird shit and continues to do weird shit. Like, this is the man that y'all are keeping for and defending. And I could honestly just tell like it was a bunch of Kanye West fans that were in her like replies on her tweets. But also, like, okay, fair enough. But like, I'm pretty sure y'all have liked some fucking humorous tweet like that. Like, I don't think it's like actually humorous, but like people be liking those tweets and laughing at it, like people making fun of the RIP people in their bios. And I'm like, it's just mad selective. And then it's like, I think people just like to have a reason to hate on things. That's why people say like people on, like when I'm speaking from experience, because I know when I'm judging people, I gotta like literally sometimes take a step back and like be like, well, why am I being so judgy today? Did you eat? Are you hungry? Did you shit today? Do you feel cute? You must feel ugly. You must like 9 times out of 10, if I'm over judging or over analyzing or over criticizing somebody, it's because I feel some type of deficit within myself. Like I'm saying, and it's like, that's why it's so draining to be on social media sometimes, because it's like the antithesis of everything that I'm trying to build for myself in terms of my like spirituality and my mental health and just like my self-care. And like this one book that I'm reading right now, it's all about divesting from your ego and your inner judge. And because that ego is that voice in your head that's always judging yourself or other people. And like the book was just kind of saying like it's not healthy or productive to constantly be judging yourself, good or bad. Like sometimes, like that's why, you know, the power of meditation is so powerful, because you're just at it in a neutral state. That's why you're able to reach an enlightenment or just inner peace, because you're not constantly in your head listening to this inner voice judging you and everything around you. And that's why I know when people judge, they're really judging through the lens that they see themselves. So that's why being on Twitter, it kind of is like really draining, because like all you see is like criticize. I feel like it's a quote, like all you do is criticize. But really, it's like, and that's, if you're looking for a change, look in the mirror, okay? And that's on MJ. Don't be like John Mayer. We're not waiting for the world to change. Like we gotta change ourselves, because it's like the only reason why some things are the way they are is because so many people just went along with it and they were just complicit in it. That's why capitalism is this thing. That's why white supremacy reigned for so long. That's why the patriarchy is still here and reigning, because people just went along. They're like, yeah, no, men deserve better rights than women. Like who the fuck thought that? Who the fuck is Fair Isaac's corporation? Why do I have a credit score that deems my worthiness? It's like because we're being so at the end of the day, my point being is I'm going to have to live off grid or just live offline in order to live a meaningful, fulfilling, productive life. Hopefully I didn't like say anything that like offended anybody, but like I just feel like these are things that like I feel like they're so obvious. Like they're not obvious, but because I think also we've just gotten so used to, that's always been the culture of the internet though. So that's why I'm like I can't even expect too much from the internet. That's why I'm like I'm just not going to participate in it as much, because like the internet has always been a cesspool of just random people voicing a lot of controversial opinions, like 4chan and like fucking MySpace. I remember that movie Cyberbullying. Like, and it's like, girl, just close your laptop, like problem solved. But then open that bitch back up so you can Google and like educate yourself about the same fucking issues, systematic issues that you're trying to condemn other people for participating in. But we're all here collectively. It's a collective. We all are subjected to this capitalist bullshit. Like we need to find better means of going about things. That's all I'm saying, because my mouth is getting dry.